This session is called Local Search Optimization, and in this session, you're going to learn some specific techniques that you can use to rank highly in local searches. So by focusing on a local market, you are essentially eliminating 99% of the SEO competition that you have no need to compete with. Now, what this means is you're only going to be competing with businesses in your area. So let's say, for example, you have a local regional-based business such as a store, restaurant, or if you have a service-based business like a plumber or a landscaper, you don't need to be competing with businesses that are miles and miles and miles away or in another country. You only need to compete with people in your region. So this is good news because if you do have a local business, you only have to compete with people that are in your area. And this significantly brings down the difficulty to rank well for any particular keywords. So when you search Google, it's actually aware of what city that you are in based on how you're connected to the internet through your ISP or internet service provider, or if you happen to be logged into your Google account. So what this does is when you search for a certain type of keyword, Google will display relevant local results as opposed to results from all over the world. So let's say, for example, you're in San Francisco and you search for plumber. Well, considering that you're in San Francisco, chances are you're not interested in plumbers that are in Florida. So by displaying a local subset of all the results that Google knows about, they are delivering much more relevant search results to the users. So let's look at a few things that you can do to become a local authority and to start ranking very highly for local searches. So the first thing to do is to claim your local search profiles on all of the major search engines. So this means Google Places, Yahoo Local, and Bing Local. Now this process makes it very easy for the search engines to know where you're located and also what keywords you're relevant for. Another thing that they do in some cases is they will verify your address by sending you a postcard in the mail with a code on it that you then have to verify either by phone or by email. Add photos, videos, and some other additional details. Now, this is another on and so forth. For example, I did this search for San Francisco and I found baycityguide.com and a few others. So if you go through this process, you're going to find a handful of directories, and it's a great idea to go and sign up for as many as you can find. So another thing that works really well is to get local press attention. So Google is already looking at all of your local publications and they already see them as authorities. So if you have an article written about you and you have a link from that article to your website, that is a very valuable link from a local authority. And that's definitely going to help boost your rankings, especially in local search. So the next thing you'll want to do is competitive research on local businesses. Since you know that you're going to be competing with these local businesses specifically, you're going to want to look at them and take a look at what they're up to, maybe find some links that they have that you could go acquire for yourself. And a really easy way to find what pages are linking to your competitors is to do this simple Google search. So now I'd like to take a second and actually give you a real example of how to do this simple competitive research. So the example that I'm going to give is, let's imagine if you're going to open a grocery store here in Santa Cruz. So what we're going to first do is find the Santa Cruz and you can see the trends for any particular keyword around the different counties in that area. So very, very useful tool when you're trying to figure out which keywords to go after when you're doing a local-based SEO campaign. So the next thing here is locals on-site optimization. And just as in the other videos that we've talked about on-page optimization, this is specific to local SEO. And the two most important things that you can do is have a phone number and a physical address. Now, these things need to be text-based. Make sure they're not in an image, which I see on a lot of local businesses. But Google needs to know that you have a phone number and an address. These two things tell them specifically, we are located here and we are in this area code. And I found that it's a best practice to have it at least twice, maybe once in the header and once in the footer. That seems to tell Google very clearly that when they come to your site and they see those things on every single page, your phone number and your address, they trust that that's where you're located and you're more likely to have those pages show up in local searches. So in conclusion, using what you've learned in this session, you can rank highly in even very competitive local markets by going and acquiring these high authority local based links and doing a little bit of local on-page optimization.